A very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America in Washington. This is Live Talk. I'm Kip Stube.
And I'm Marvelous Mhlanganya Huye, broadcasting from my home in Washington, D.C., due to the COVID-19 coronavirus that's currently ravaging the whole world and Zimbabwe.
Tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about corruption in Zimbabwe.
And the police recently arrested Health Minister Obadiah Moyo. He is facing charges of abuse of office and corruption. Dr. Moyo was granted 50,000 Zimbabwe dollars bail.
Dr. Moyo allegedly facilitated a $60 million deal between the government and Drugs International for the supply of coronavirus COVID-19 test kits without following stipulated tender procedures.
A Drugs International official, Delish Guwaya, appeared in court today facing charges of corruption. He is allegedly linked to the First Family, which has distanced itself from him.
Some former state officials are facing charges of abuse of office and corruption in Zimbabwe. They include former local government minister Ignatius Chombo and former tourism minister Priska Mfumira, who is facing charges of abuse of duty as a public officer for allegedly taking unauthorized loans at the state-controlled National Social Security Authority, amounting to $94 million United States dollars.
So the big question is, do such corrupt activities affect Zimbabweans?
But first, let's look at the top news today, Marvelous. The Malawi Electoral Commission is expected to announce the results of the presidential election between incumbent President Peter Mutharika of the Democratic Progressive Party and Lazarus Chikwera of the opposition Malawi Congress Party. Chikwera is reportedly leading in the polls.
And in other news, the Ministry of Health says there are now 551 cases of COVID-19 in Zimbabwe. 128 people have recovered from the disease, and the country has so far recorded 6 deaths. Globally, Johns Hopkins University Hospital reports that there are now almost 10 million cases of COVID-19, with an estimated 489,000 people, nearly 490,000 people facing death from the disease. In the United States, where we are right now, there are almost 3 million people having been infected with COVID-19 or coronavirus, and the U.S. has now become the epicenter of the disease in the world, with 124,000, nearly 125,000 deaths from the disease. But Gibbs, still on that issue, we see that there's also, some news that came in from Zimbabwe, where 3 women from the MDC Alliance, Joanna Mamombe, Cecilia Chimbiri, and Netai Marua, were given an opportunity to pay bail, but they had been languishing in a jail at Chikurubi for allegedly having lied that they were abducted. So that's the other news that's coming in from Zimbabwe as the country continues under lockdown.
Yeah, kunjalo sibili zilukandaba siyabona ukuthi ke namhlanje kunenge okumele sikhulume, kodwa udaba lwethu sibili segudwini udaba lokungethembeki elizweni leZimbabwe. So siyabona ke ukuthi kwakwabotshwa udokotela Obadiah Moyo owetheswa icala lokuthi wephula imithetho ekutheni ke kutholakale ama-test kits e-COVID-19. Kunjalo ke kukhanya ebotshwa khonapho kwakukhanya kule company le kuthiwa i-Drugs International eyabhalelana kumbe yalobelana isivumelwano lohulumende esifika ku-60 million United States dollars. Khonapho ke imali le kwakumele ukuthi ithenga ama-test kits, kukhanya ngazani kulobungilimbane okwaba khona khonapho. Siyabona njalo ke ukuthi udokotela Moyo bamphile isibambiso sebhail $50,000. Abanye babuza ukuthi kathi $50,000 uyithethe ngaphi bona ominister bavele bahola malini. Kuzobuya ke siyabona ukuthi kulabanye abasebenza kuhulumende abagoqela ke umnumzana Ignatius Chombo, kuzobuya ke lonkosikazi Priska Mfumira abangani sibili lokho kuhlupha labo bayetheswa umacala ongethembeki. KwelaMalawi ke kusamelele ukuthi kuzwakala ukuthi ukhetho luyaphuma njani. Impumela ngkhona asikakwazi ukuthi ukuhamba njani, kodwa kukhanya ke umnumzana Lazarus Chakwera weMalawi Congress Party uyakhokhela. Khona ngale ke okade ngumongameli umnumzana Peter Mutharika ungani zimflatele kulesi sikhathi. Kuzobuya ke i-COVID-19 cases kwele Zimbabwe liyakhuphuka Marvelous, okunye okumangalisayo. So ke over to you khona.
aiwa kunavo vachangobva kupinda muchirongwa tinokuchingamidzai pano paLiveTalk apo tiri kutepfenyura tiri kumba. Ini ndiri muWashington DC umo ndiri kutepfenyura ndiri kumba pamusoro pedambudziko rechirwere cheCovid-19 kana kuti coronavirus. Pari zvino munyika mune vanhu vawanikwa ivo vachibatwa nechirwere ichi vanosvika 551 ndo vawanikwa vachibatwa nechirwere ichi, tichiona kuti vanhu 6 ndo vawanikwa vachishaya. Asi nyaya yedu huru yatiri kutaura zuva ranhasi inyaya yeuori. Tichiona kuti mazuva apfuura takaona gurukota rezveutano vaObadhaya Moyo vachiwanikwa ivo vachimiswa pamberi pedare vachinzi vakange vaita uori panyaya yezvikwanisiro zveCovid-19 muhofisi ravo. Tikaona vachipiwa ivo mukana wekuti vabhadhare mari yechibatiso inosvika iyo $50,000 Zimbabwean dollars. Saka vazhinji vari kutarisa ivo kuti zviri kuitika muhurumende izvi zviri kubatsira sei vana veZimbabwe kana kuti vana veZimbabwe vari kuzvitora sei. Tichiona kuti munguva yapfuura takamboona vaIgnatius Chombo vachimiswa zvakare pamberi pedare, tikaona Mai Priska Mufumira vachimiswa pamberi pedare, asi hatina kuzonzwa kuti nyaya idzi dzakaenderera mberi kupi. Nhasi taona zvakare mumwe muzvina bhizinisi wekambani inonzi Drugs vawanikwa ivo vachimiswa inonzi Drugs International vabhuyanga zita ravo rinoti netsei kuti ndiritaure, asi vaDelish Nguyawa vari kunzi ivo ndiwe mukuru weDrugs International vachimiswa pamberi pedare, asi vachinzi ivo vakange vaita zvakare uori panyaya yeCovid-19 test kits. Vazhinji vari kuti ivo vaMbuyawa ava vane ukama kana kuti vanozivana nemhuri yehurumende yemutungamiri wehurumende yavaEmmerson Mnangagwa, asi mhuri yehurumende yavaEmmerson Mnangagwa vari kuti aiwa ivo havasi kuzivana navabuyanga ava. Saka ndo zvimwe zvatichange tiri kukurukura tichitarisa zvakare kuti nhasi taona madzimai matatu eMDC Alliance vanoita ivo muzvare Joanna Mamombe, muzvare Cecilia Chimbiri namuzvare Netsai Maruva vachipiwa ivo mukana wekuti vabhadhare mari yechibatiso. Saka pari zvino vachange vari kuzobviswa kuchikurubhi kwavari vachitongerwa vari kubva kumba. Saka ndo zvatichange tiri kukurukura nazvo tichitarisa, asi nyaya huru inyaya yeuori. Gibbs.
Yes, while we're waiting for Janet Tambula in Malawi, she works for the Ministry of Information and Civic Education to come on board. We'll start the ball rolling by just going straight into the issue of today. So we've got Reverend Hussein Sibanda and Dr. Simbama Vaza. So we'll start with the Reverend Hussein Sibanda, talking about the impact of corruption on the electorate, on people in Zimbabwe. So what's your take on what has been happening in Zimbabwe and the impact of this on people, Reverend Hussein Sibanda?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. A lot of people in Zimbabwe are already vulnerable, and we face severe strain on our health system. In fact, our health system had collapsed. We also do not have medicine. We do not have a medication, even basic medication like paracetamols, painkillers. Therefore, when COVID came on board, it's obvious that we were at a very, very great disadvantage as a nation, but more so for poor and vulnerable people and communities. So therefore, every cent counts, which is donated to Zimbabwe. Every cent counts in terms of getting personal protection equipment for our hospitals. Every cent counts in terms of getting our frontline workers protected. Every cent counts in terms of equipping our hospitals. As I speak to you now, we don't have adequate equipment in our hospitals, beds, basic equipment, so that if the COVID-19 cases escalate during this winter season, we will still be found very much wanting. So therefore, any implications that our public officials, more so the head of our ministry, the head of the Minister of Health, I think has a very serious impact, because he's the leader of this critical ministry at the moment. So any implications and allegations of corruption and possible swindling of money for that amount of about 60 million, where things are not being done properly, has got a very big impact on the ordinary people in Zimbabwe. First of all, it's discouraging because people are now thinking this means that all the donations are not going to reach us. But also it's discouraging because people are realizing that cases are rising up, but there is no clear leadership, clear commitment from government. And what appears, the perception that is coming out, is that people do not care about potential death of our people. People do not care about the potential that a lot of people in our communities could be wiped out by COVID-19. But what they care about is making money for themselves.
Yeah,
So
just briefly. Yeah, khona okade utsho amafitshane sibili.
udubo lukhona ukuthi le indaba eyokuthi kungabe kudonsha imali ikakhulu nxa imino yonke ikhomba uminister owe-health iletha ukudanisa kakhulu njalo iyaletha ukuthi abantu bezizwe sebedangele ngenxa yokuthi sikhuluma kanje izibhedlela zethu zifile, akula mithi, akula maphilisi, akulani. Ngakho nxa kuthiwa umuntu utshontsha imali obekumele iye ebantwini kumbe kungalungiswa kuhle indlela yokuthenga imithi lokuthi kukhanya ukuthi abantu bakhangela ukuthi imbhedi ibe khona, izibhedlela zivulwe, kuyinto echiya abantu bezizwa ngani ukuthi akula nkokheli, kuthi imali ezibuyayo kuphela zilanda ukuthi zizotshontshwa.
Yes, cela ubambe khonapho ke Reverend ungayikhatshana sibise uMarvelous Mhlanganya uye sixoxe lo baba uMabaza. Marvelous, over to you.
Yes, it's a good, we welcome our guest on the show. Tombonzwa kungoti ndanga ndisiri kunzwa zvanga zviri kutaurwa naReverend asi tingada kuvhunza vaMabaza kana varipo kuti vari kuona sei zviri kuitika munyika kana vanga vari kunzwa zvatanga tiri kuverenga kuti nhasi vanhu vekudrugs vawanikwa ivo vachimiswa pamberi pedare vachipomerwa nyaya yeuori uyezve zvichinzi izvo mhuri yemutungamiri wenyika vaEmmerson Mnangagwa variwo munyaya iyoyi vanozivana nemutungamiri uyu wedrugs.
Okay, let's bring in Dr. Mabaza. So, Dr. Mabaza, the question is, we are saying these corruption allegations filed against state officials. So, what's the impact of this on, on the electorate? And why does it seem as if there's so much corruption in Zimbabwe? Briefly say.
Right, thank you so much. There are two issues here we have to look at. Firstly, let me start directly with the case involving the Minister of Health and Mr. Nguwaya of drugs. The first thing is what we need to look at. It's an allegation that there was supposed to be a sale of equipment with a value of 60 million. No money has been taken from the government. The minister did not release that money to Mr. Nguwaya. Mr. Nguwaya had actually supplied the PPEs and he had not yet been given the funds. Yes, the corruption now here is on the issue or on the way Mr. Nguwaya was favored or was given a contract without going through tender. But there are a number of issues again which we have to look at before we rush to blame. The first thing is that the problem we have to look at is, number one, when we got into this coronavirus, this COVID-19 problem, it was the first time that there was COVID-19 in the whole world. Nobody knew what to do, how to be done. So it was a pandemic and it was an issue of urgency. So the minister, was he supposed to wait for a tender which would take 3, 4, 5 months when there was something to be done urgently? Yes, there are procedures which were not followed. But does that make everything to zero in under the grounds of corruption? I think probably we need to understand what is being said before we jump up to label people. So, but when you look at this case, I need you to look at the issue of Dalish Nguwaya. Nguwaya is a representative of a company which is supplying the equipment. And he went to the ministry, he did his work, he sold out. and the ministry bought what he was selling, and he pitched up a price. If the price is very high, there is no price controls over these equipments, and therefore whatever price he might come up with, it was an agreement between him and the ministry.
But in fact, here, Dr. Mavaza, the issue
Yes.
is these gentlemen having flouted tender procedures. So that's where the issue is. You know, they would never went to tender, and that was supposed to be done, right? Just
No.
1 minute.
That's where the problem is. The problem is there was no issue of tender in this case. That's why, mark my words, you will see that Minister Obadiah Moyo will not be convicted over this case. And not because this case involves the president, as people believe. It's because there is no case at all. The anti-corruption, the ZACC, they rushed to arrest only because there was a lot of noise from social media and other corners of the country. But the reality of the matter, there was no issue of tender. It was an issue of emergence. Of course, the prices were quite pervasive, were quite vulgar, to say the least. But there was no control of prices, and therefore it is not a criminal offense. It could be a misconduct, but not the way they are dealing with it now.
Right, briefly, in Shona, the impact of this, on the electorate. Can you say it in Shona? Briefly, really.
Tirikuti dambudziko riri kuitika iri renyaya yemitengo yakakwidzwa zvakapfurikidza kuti vatenge zvekudzivirira chirwere checovid ichi. Dambudziko riripo nderekuti kuvanhu isu veruzhinji vari uku hakuna ati abatwa kana aafektwa nenyaya iyi, nekuti hakuna mari yakabuda mugavhmendi yaive yatova padhuze pekubhadhara, asi hakuna mari yakabuda kuministry, hakuna mari yakabva kuministry of finance, hakuna mari yakabva mugavhmendi, hakuna mari yakapiwa vananguwaya. Vananguwaya ndo vakatobhadhara hurumende nenyaya yezvinhu zvecovid. Saka to be sure, corruption haina kunaka, and hatimbofanira kugara tichirumbidza. Vanenge vari corrupt vanofanira kusungwa, asi panyaya iyi idiro rapotsa davi ratingatiro the baboon had missed the branch.
Thank you so much. But indications of that some money was actually paid to the company. So anyway, let's bring in Marvelous Nyawiye. Maybe she's got a question for the Reverend. Marvelous.
Tombonzwa kuna vasibanda kuti ivo vanoona sei pane zviri kutaurwa naDr. Mavaza, nekuti ndiri kuona kuti ivo vari kutotaura kuti vabva vatotaura kuti hapana nyaya iripo, nekuti vari kuti hapana mari yakabuda. Asi zvinodzokera zvakare kuenda kune zvinotaurwa nevanhu kuti hurumende kana kuti ZANU-PF iri kuita catch and release. Vanoti munhu asungwa, munhu aendeswa kudare, asi hapana anozoziva kuti nyaya iyi inopera sei. Vasibanda vanoona sei zviri kutaurwa naDr. Mavaza?
So, Reverend Banda, the question is on the catch and release of state officials. So now, what do you think about what even Dr. Mavaza said? Go ahead, Reverend. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hello, Reverend. I think your phone has lost some kind of audio. So can you hear me? Yeah, I think the Reverend has actually lost his audio. So we'll come back to you. Can you cut out and come back? Then maybe it will be activated. So Marvelous, go ahead. Maybe we talk to Dr. Mavaza.
Yes, Gibbs. I'm not sure what Mr. Sibanda said.
No, the Reverend has got an audio issue, so he's coming back shortly.
Tombodzokera kuva Mavaza kwaDr. uko tionzwa kuti kovanoti nezvinotaurwa nevanhu kuti hurumende kana kuti inoita iyo catch and release, nekuti tanzwa ivo vachitotaura kuti hapana nyaya kunyangwe pane zvakataurwa, kunyangwe kuti vaDr. Obadiah Moyo hapana nyaya nekuti vanga vasati vaburisa mari. Ivo vanozviona sei nyaya yekuti zviri kuitika izvi catch and release, hapana zvatinoona zvinozobuda panyaya yewori?
Okay, hold on, Marvelous. Let's bring in Dr. Mavaza. The catch and release issue, Dr. Mavaza. We have seen it happening. Dr. Chombo is out. Mrs. Mufumiro is out. Dr. Moyo is out now. So Zach and the police are doing this catch and release thing. What's your take on that?
Right. I think the first thing we look at is that the catch and release thing is caused by the fact that the police and the ZAC are not doing proper investigations. The actual thing which is supposed to happen, they are supposed to investigate, then arrest. But they are arresting to investigate, which is a problem. If you start by arresting, you are missing a lot of things through your investigations, and you are under pressure to convict. But the law, when you go before the judge, when you go before the court, there is no social media, there is no public opinion, there is the judge making a decision on the basis of the law. So in most cases, we lose our cases. But however, let me be quick to say, Professor Chombo has not been acquitted. His case is still pending. On Madam Fumira, her case has not been completed. She has not been acquitted either. She is actually having an issue where lawyers are saying she cannot stand trial because she has some mental issues or some mental health problems. So the court is looking into that application. So as far as we are concerned now, Madam Mufumira had not been released, and Dr. Obadiah Moyo has only been asked to pay bail. Paying bail does not mean that you are innocent. It is a right of every accused person. If the court is satisfied that the person cannot run away, he is entitled to bail. So Dr. Moyo has been given bail on that basis. But on the issue where we must look at on a serious note, the government has to go and retrain the prosecutors in the anti-corruption unit because they don't know what they're doing. They are arresting people before they investigate. And that gives a bad name to us as a government and to us as a country. It is not like that the government is happy to catch and release. The government wishes to see a lot of convictions. But what we must always know, in law, it is not the conviction which is important. It is the due process, the process of going to court. And if you are guilty, you are found guilty. In Zimbabwe, we believe in innocent until proven guilty. You are not, you are not guilty when you are arrested. You are innocent.
Thank you so much. Let's bring in Reverend Hussein Sibanda. I think he's back. Maybe his audio is okay now. Reverend Hussein Sibanda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so this
I can hear you very well. Thank you.
Yes, this issue of catch and release, it seems to be the thing that is being done by the government. So when all this is happening, does it have really a direct impact on civilians?
Yes, it does, because first of all, it reduces confidence in our justice system. There is definitely a big question mark that why is it that when there are other cases that government is investigating which do not involve people that are in government or people that are in ZANU-PF, the justice system becomes very efficient. They do not catch and release those people. They are very, very efficient. The prosecution is done, bails are denied, and so forth. Why is it that we can only see it happening? This inefficiency is only happening with government officials that are being implicated in corruption cases. I think that is where the big question is. If it was uniform across all the citizens, maybe we'll say our justice system and the police are inefficient. But we realize that there is partiality that appears to be there. So that's the main concern. And once citizens are not confident of our justice and legal system, it's very problematic, because that is where they can go for recourse. That is where they can go if they have problems. But if they have no confidence in the system, I think it poses a very big dilemma for all of us.
Yes, just about 2 minutes.
Udubo lukhona ukuba nxa ukubotshwa lokukhululwa kwabantu kusenziwa kuphela ebantwini abakuhulumende kumbe abantu abakhanya besazana labantu abakuhulumende, kungenzeki kwabanye abantu, kuyaletha ukuthi abantu bengathembi imithethwandaba yethu, labantu abasebenza behlolisisa izindaba zabo, ukuthi engxenye ngabe kukhona okunye okwenzakalayo okwenza ukuthi abanye abantu bebanjwa kodwa sibone sebekhitshwe masinyane. Ikanti abanye bengabotshwa abangaziwanga umuntu, ubokhala ngani balwa lo hulumende bahlala khonapho babolele ejele.
Yes, sicela ubambe khonapho ke sibize Marvelous Mhlanganya uye sibona ukuthi ukhona kumbe sekhona Marvelous. Marvelous, so I think you heard the Reverend there, or so go ahead.
Ndingada kuti Reverend vataure zvavanga vari kutaura izvi neshona kuti tinzwe kuti ivo vanoona sei zviri kuitika izvi, nokuti ndanzwa Dr. Mavaza vachitaura ivo kuti vanhu vari kuZaki havana unyanzvi, asi semaziyo ratinoita Zaki haina kugadzwa here nemutungamiri wenyika, sei vakagadza vanhu vasina unyanzvi?
Let's bring in the Reverend. Can you react to that?
And nofunga kuti nyaya panapa is that a lot of our communities vano lose our confidence ku justice system yeZimbabwe. And also vanonge vachifunga kuti maybe kune vamwe vanhu who are favored because tiri kuona kuti ma catch and release incidences are kuitika. They are only happening to people who are connected to government. Asi vanhu who are not connected to government at all. Tiri kuona kuti kana pakabatwa ne anti-corruption vanongogara kujere. And sometimes people are questioning my issues of kune fairness here. And also, I don't think the anti-corruption people are inefficient. But I think with what needs to be done, manofanira kupiwa space to write my investigations without interference from anyone.
Yes, I think maybe a question was answered. So let's get to Dr. Mavaza. Marvelous.
Aiwa, todzokera kuna Dr. Mavaza tiri panyaya yeZimbabwe anti-corruption. Tanzwa zvataurwa naReverend Hussein vari kuti ivo vanhu vanofanira kupa iro Zaki mukana wekuti vaite basa ravo pasina kumbunyikidzwa kana kuti vachiudzwa zvekuita. Imi munoona sei Dr. Mavaza?
So Dr. Mavaza, I'm just bringing you on board right now. So can you respond to that question? Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, let me start by responding to what the Reverend had said earlier on. Firstly, the problem the Reverend is not seeing here is that when the political or the opposition people or people in politics commit their crimes, which are not corruption, but politically related, they commit them in the public view of everybody. So it becomes easier. There's not much investigation to be done. They are still committing it. While corruption is done in hidden places, in dark areas. So it needs thorough investigations. Again, we give an example of the three ladies from the opposition who have just been given bail today. They have not been convicted yet. They are now being charged from home. They've been released. But why are we not saying it's catch and release? It must not be political. Neither must it be partisan. It must refer to everybody else. So in this case, we are simply saying the people in ZAC, it's not those appointed by the president, but there are those who apply to be ZAC investigators are not appointed by the president. They apply for employment. They are former police officers, intelligence officers, and all those people. We are saying they are not doing their job properly. They are not investigating properly. What I'm saying here is the whole world now thinks 60 million was taken from the treasury and given to the minister who gave to Nguaya, but no penny had left. And you had said earlier on, Gibbs, that there was money paid. There was only $2 million paid for the other products which were already provided, which was nothing to do with COVID. The issues about COVID, it was another 40 million, it has not been paid, plus another 20 million has not been paid. The first 2 million was for the first things which had already been supplied. There was already supply and then they were paid. The second thing, they have supplied and not yet paid because the question of the prices came up. And then when the prices were so high, the question was, how did they even get this contract? That's when the issue of a tender came in. But the question is, was there a need for a tender in the time of emergency? I need us to be very careful here. I am not saying that what was done was good. No, it is not good. The prices was very pervasive, and I've agreed that this is wrong. But even if it looks wrong in our eyes, is it wrong in the eyes of the law? And the question is, how does this affect people? I have not answered that.
That's it. That's what we want to hear.
Yes, I agree with the Reverend.
Yes.
I agree with the Reverend that it makes people lose confidence in the justice system. But it is not the government which is making it. It is those in the justice system who are not doing their jobs very well. They are giving the government a bad name. And secondly, if people are just going to be arrested and sent to prison simply because there's an allegation, then there will be no need for justice. People have to be tried. People have to be heard. They have to confront their accusers, and then they have to be found guilty if they are guilty. You don't just make them guilty because the world thinks they are guilty. The mob psychology must never be implied into our justice system. It will be wrong. People must be prosecuted, and when people are interested, they must follow the prosecution, but they must not try to persuade the judge to convict because people are angry. Whatever makes me angry, it can be morally wrong, but not legally wrong. So the price was morally wrong.
Yes. Can you put that in Shona briefly? Just briefly, yes.
Ndiri kuti ini dambudziko riripo nderekuti ruzhinji rweZimbabwe runoshaya kana vimbo nematongero kana nevedzimhosva nevemadare edzimhosva nekuda kwekuti kana vanhu vachingobatwa vachingoregedzwa vanhu havachazwisisa kuti pane nyaya here hapana, vanofunga kuti varegedzwa because vanhu vemusangano. Asi handiro dambudziko. Donzo rehurumende nderekuti anenge abatwa nemhosva yake anofanira kuripira mhosva yake. Asi kana pasina umboo unobata munhu nemhosva, hazvina kukodzera kuti munhu angoenda kujeri nekuda kwaizvozvo. Reverend vambotaura nyaya yekuti asi kana vari vanhu vematongero enyika munovabata hamuna dambudziko. Hachisi chokwadi. Vakawanda vematongero enyika vakabatwa asi havasi kujeri, vakangopiwa bheri, vamwe vabuda nhasi, vamwe vari kubuda mangwana, nyaya dzavo hadzisati dzapera. Saka zvinoratidza dambudziko harisi rekuti ndiani abatwa, dambudziko nderekuti ndiani abata. Saka abata anofanira kuita basa rake nemazvo, unganidza umboo hwake, ozobata munhu une umboo. Otherwise kana tikasadaro tinoshoresa matare, toshoresa zvinhu zvemutemo nezvekuwirirana kana iya inonzi justice.
Thank you very much. Let's bring on Reverend Hussein Sibanda. Reverend Sibanda, your reaction to what Dr. Mavas is saying. And then let's look really at the impact of this, in terms of the people out there. Gibbs is in Makokoba, Culture Park, and other places, Mbare, and so forth. So this thing, does it directly affect Gibbs right there?
Okay. Well, I think first of all, if you look at the fact that prices for personal protection equipment, for essential things that we need to save lives, because remember, this is not, let's not discuss this as if it is a normal situation. We know that we are in a big disaster and emergency situation. And then people start inflating prices. The cost of mask, we all know it, the normal cost for mask and other items. But people are inflating prices to unbelievable levels. And so that on its own, I think the good doctor then needs to acknowledge it is unacceptable. But secondly, we have a very big problem. The leader of the pack, someone who's supposed to lead the nation in this disaster period, is being fingered in corruption. So which means his mind right now is not even there anymore. He's trying to defend himself. He's trying now to get lawyers. He's trying to get himself out. So already we have a very big crisis on our hands, because the Minister of Health, who's supposed to be providing solutions, is actually in a big mess where he's being fingered in the corruption. So for me, I think he should be fired at the moment, even if we don't have enough evidence. The very fact that his name is being dragged in, he should be fired. But secondly, the ordinary person now, they are anxious. The issue of mental health now is at a very high level here in Zimbabwe. Ordinary communities are very anxious. They want to know that, first of all, they can be able to access health. They can be able to access treatment. They can be able to go to Thorncliffe if they are COVID positive, or to Egusileni, or they can go to Mpilo UBH, or go to Parenyatwa, and so forth. But now with this crisis that is there, they are obviously traumatized. This situation of corruption has traumatized everyone. People in the townships, people in the rural areas, they are traumatized because the feeling is we don't have anyone leading us. We don't have those that are supposed to be providing solutions are actually stealing. So there is no confidence, in them. And so the ordinary person out there, right now we speak about places like Luveve where diarrhea broke out. So people have so many cases upon cases, and they've lost confidence. And unfortunately, they may lose hope. While it's in this particular time and season, we need to be putting confidence, showing leadership, giving them hope. But instead, we appear to be feasting on our own, putting our hands into the honey jar and into the till. And so that makes the ordinary person feel I don't have leaders. So therefore the impact is trauma, is stress. People are already stressed anyway because of the economy. And if they think other people are taking advantage of the suffering to steal from them, I think it's more traumatic.
Yes,
Abantu bakithi kathesi nxa sikhuluma sinje ingqondo zabo zididene njalo bangaphansi kokukhathazeka ngenxa yokuthi lumkhuhlane weCovid akula muntu okwaziyo ukuthi indlela omemetheka ngayo ukuthi kumbe ngabanjwa kumbe ngayekela ukubanjwa yiwo. Nxa laba basikhokhelayo ikakhulu kulolu hlangothi olwempilakahle kukhanya kungani yibo asebetshontsha imali. Khathesi sikhuluma kanje uminister ngwakhe ingqondo zakhe angikholwa ukuthi ziyathatha kuhle ngenxa yokuthi antshi amapholisa amthethe uke walala ejele. Manje uzakhangela njani ama-problems okumele asolvwe ngenxa ye-COVID-19 yena khathesi ebhizi ebalekela amapholisa edinga amaloya esenza zonke zona lezi zinto. Kusho ukuthi abantu abaningi ngikhuluma kanje ingqondo zabo nxa ngikhuluma umuntu oselobhengula, umuntu osembare, umuntu osemtare, umuntu osechinoyi, umuntu osemberengo, ingqondo zakhe khathesi ukhathazekile ukuthi kade abantu labo kumele basikhokhele nxa manje betshontsha izinto okumele zisetshenziswe esibhedlela kutshoni. Siyakwazi ukuthi amamaski ayimalini kodwa izimali bezikhweza ngendlela esabisayo ukwenzela ukuthi umuntu afake okunye esikhwameni.
Yes, siyakuzwa mfundisi, sicela ubambe khonapho ke sifisa uMavelasi. Siyabona ukuthi Dr. Mavaza ungazani seqhumekile kancane uzaphenduka khonapha. So our good Dr. Mavaza has just been cut off. So continue, Marvelous.
Maybe I'll go back to Reverend Hussein Sibanda to just ask that are there any watchdogs to make sure that when people say there is a catch and release a system happening in Zimbabwe, how then are we going to, or is Zimbabwe going to hold the government accountable, especially during this COVID-19 and the acquiring of PPEs? After what has happened to Dr. Obadiah Moyo, how are we going to account that, that money, the 60 million, which is said to be floating somewhere and has not been awarded to anybody, is given to the right company and PPE is provided, and that corruption does not continue? Kunao vachangobva kupinda muchirongwa tiri kutaura isu pamusoro pedambudziko reCovid-19. Saka apo ndanga ndiri kuvhunza ini kuna Dr. Hussein Sibanda kuti zvii zvingaitwe. Pane masangano here anotarisa kuti zviri kuitika munyika izvi zveuori hazvirambe zvichiitika, nekuti tiri kunzwa vaDr. Mavaza vanga varapa vanga vari kutaura kuti mari iri kutaurwa ye60 million haisati yapiwa kukambani iyoyo inonzi drugs ichiriko. Asi mubvunzo wangu uri wekuti saka pane here vachange vakanyatsotarisa vakaisa ziso rekuziva kuti mari iyi ichapiwa makambani anenge aenda kutenda here, uyezve mari iyi ichashandiswa here kuti itenge zvikwanisiro zvinoshandiswa paCovid-19, nekuti tinoona vana chiremba vari kuchema pari zvino. Vana chiremba vari kuzvipatara zvehurumende pari zvino vakatoramwa mabasa vachitaura ivo panyaya yemari yemuhoro, nyaya yekuti maPPE kuzvipatara zvehurumende hakuna. Saka mubvunzo wangu uri iwoyo kungoti ndezvipi zvingaitwe kuti tione kuti uori uyu hauenderere mberi, kunyange vanhu vari kumiswa mumatare hatizoona zvakare zvichiitika.
Reverend Swanda, I think you can take that question. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think Zakakosha, it's very important to teach them trainings for communities in what we call social audits. Our communities should be able to, with our social audits, a lot of them, Baraguma COVID-19 task force, we have a lot of pastors, we have a lot of people from civic society. They are part of the COVID-19 task force, both at district and provincial levels. So, kunema means and ways in which they can be able to check with what was donated at national level. Wasika ere kuma district and provincial levels. Vanhu vari kuwana here ma-donations acho which have been promised. So I think to build a capacity yema-communities at the lowest possible level, like I'm saying, especially my teams that are involved in COVID-19, kuita what we call social audits. These are audits that can be done in communities at the low level where they can check how many masks have been brought to us, how many sanitizers have come to us. But at national level, what has been promised or what has come through. And so it's easy to do that because these people have become part of the local infrastructure and ecosystem around my responses to COVID-19. And so I believe it can be easy to do that. And also, we have so many civic society groups that are working at both provincial, district levels and at national levels that should be able to do that. We have got people like Zimcot who have been managing to actually, outline the donations that have come through item by item. And so the material that Zimcode has produced can be then taken and used at a community level. Since we are training my pastors, most of my fundisi that are leaders at provincial and district levels are part of our COVID, of the national COVID, of provincial and district COVID task force teams. So they're able at that level to be able to document, to be able to observe, and to be able to report. So that is very, very important. We have got the anti-corruption networks that are both at civic society level that work around these issues. But I also think there is an emerging group that is bringing government to account, and that group are the health workers in Zimbabwe. Both the nurses and doctors and networks around the health workers, they are demanding accountability from government. And I think we should tap into that as well and give them platforms and voices so that people can hear from them. Parliament has been very good to question a lot of issues that are emerging, and Parliament involves both ZANU-PF and MDC. And so for me, it's a very good platform because they are holding government to account and demanding accountability. So I think those platforms are very good, and citizens should continue to feed into them to hold government to account.
Thank you so much, Reverend Swanda. Let's take Dr. Mavaza. I think he's back. Dr. Mavaza, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, you got cut off. So the Reverend here is suggesting that Dr. Moyo should be fired because he's saying, there's a lot that is happening among people in the sense that there is so much anxiety in communities, following what happened to Dr. Moyo. And people are saying, they don't have a leader anymore in terms of the Ministry of Health. Therefore, he should be relieved of his duties because he's thinking of his case and thinking of what is going to happen next. He's hiring lawyers and all these kind of things. So what should happen under these circumstances? Because this directly affects citizens. Go ahead.
Right. Firstly, I think I don't agree with Reverend. Reverend is using a hammer to beat a fly. The minister could be suspended, which is quite proper, than firing. Because if you just start by firing, you are punishing him before he's been found guilty. He is not guilty at all. He has not been found to be wanting in this aspect. So firing is very extreme. He can be suspended. The president can appoint somebody to lead this COVID. There's actually a task force running the COVID-19 program. And the task force, of course, the minister sits in the task force, but he is not running the task force. there are so many, about 5 ministers involved and a lot of the stakeholders. So the fight against COVID is not affected because the minister is facing a problem. But however, the issue I wanted to quickly reply, Gibbs, is, you see, corruption affects everybody. Why? Because corruption is stealing from people. The money which is taken in corruption is people's money. It's not government's money. Government has no money. It's our money being held in trust by the government. So if some people put their hand in the government coffers, they are not affecting the government. They are affecting the people in the village, the people in towns, the people, even the people, the richest guys, they are affected because taxpayers' money is being taken. That's why I'm saying, yes, it was evil to put the PPE things at such a price. That was a plan to steal from the public. But that has not been done. It has not been completed, that plan. And therefore, there should be a misconduct hearing and not a criminal hearing, because a criminal hearing will come up with nothing and it will become like a catch and release. And the other point, which we need to look at and we always have to accept, we must never be allowed to be controlled by emotions. Emotions will lead us into a bottomless pit. But we must sit, take a breath and think and see what is happening around us. Yes, we are in a pandemic. And yes, we have got some people who have been very corrupt. But I'm asking a question. Everybody, in one way or the other, even the reverend here, has done some business in his life one day or the other. If you're selling your car and you offer to sell it for 10,000 and the car is worth $1, and somebody offers to buy it, you cannot be, yes, morally you'll be wrong, but legally you're not. Nguaya had offered to sell his gloves at $49 each, the mask, which is very pervasive, as I'm saying. But the person is offering to sell, he has agreed to buy. You cannot blame Nguaya unless there's evidence to say he had bribed them, or if there's evidence to say the minister was bribed. In the absence of such evidence, that there is no case at all. It only works our emotions up, gets us angry, but it gets nowhere. And it gets us more angry when the guys are acquitted. But at the end of the day, finally, I know, before I step further, corruption affects individuals, affects everybody, affects our economy. The economy does not move because the money is ending up in somebody's pockets. So corruption must be eradicated, not only by the government. We have a duty as citizens to report corruption. And then we must see those people being tried fairly and convicted, so that we can have confidence in reporting more corruption issues. But if there's nothing happening to these people when they are arrested, and because people have not investigated them, that's where we have a problem now, and we don't know what to do. We look like we are lost because we cannot report anyway. Nothing is being done. But let's understand why nothing is being done before we can put the blame on anybody.
Okay, can you say that 2 minutes exactly, Inshora? 2 minutes.
Thank you. Nandukuti chinhu chinonzi uori chinouraya and chinokuvadza munhu wese, nekuti chinobiwa pauori haisi mari yehurumende. Hurumende haina mari, imari yevanhu yatinochengeterwa nehurumende. Saka hurumende mubasa rekuchengeta mari yedu, ikaishandisa zvokuti adatora nekungoshandisa pavadira, vanenge vari kukuvadza vanhu. Mari yaifanira kuenda kana kuti iende inovaka chipatara, inopedzisira yamuhomwe memunhu. Asi tiri kuti isu kana tikaona munhu anenge ari kudya mari yehurumende pamadiro semunhu ari kudya mushonga wemusana, hatikwanise kungomuti ari kuba kusvika tanzwisisa mabiro aari kuita. Kepiri tiri kuti isu iyi nyaya yatsviriridza iyi yegurukota reutano, mukanyatsoongorora hakuna mari yatapinda mumaoko megurukota kana yabuda mugavhmendi, mari ichiriko. Saka kuti gavhmendi isatenge zvinodiwa ichingoti kuti zvaimboda kubiwa hachisi chikonzero. Chepiri, tati hazvina kufanira kuti gurukota ridzimwe basa nyaya isina kuongororwa. Nyaya inofanira kuenda kumatare yonopera. Zvinogona kuitika ndizvo kudai izvo. Hurumende yakagadzira inonzi task force ine maminista anokwanisa kuita, anokwana kuita 5 ari kuita control this task force nevazhinji vari mukati mutask force imomo mumadepartments akasiyana-siyana. Saka basa rekurwisa chirwere checovid ichi utachiwana uyu harisi kumira nekuti gurukota riri paromana nzombe. Gurukota riri kutongwa, tiri kuzvinzwisisa. Gurukota rakamira kuti nyaya yake achenurwe kana kuti asvibiswe, but hatikwanise kumanikidza hurumende kuti ingomusvibisa iye asina chikonzero chekusvibiswa. Ndo mapopotere atiri kuita, ndo zvatiri kutaura.
Thank you very much. Before we proceed any further, we'll actually take a commercial break, just for about a minute or less than that. Then we'll cross over to Malawi and come back to Dr. Mabaza and Reverend Hussein Sibanda. So,
thank you.
VOA Africa in Zimbabwe has moved to a new satellite. Listeners currently tuning in via Intelsat 20 can now also find us on SES 5 band and C band transponders. You can still receive the VOA Southern Africa Zimbabwe audio on Intelsat 20, but the signal will be deactivated on June 30th, 2020. Continue counting on us for the latest news, music, sports, and more, now with a better signal and a better sound. VOA Africa in Zimbabwe, your best source for news and information.
so that's the satellite that we have. Let's cross over to Malawi, where we've got Janet Tambala. Janet Tambala is in the Ministry of Information. So she's waiting for our call. We are trying to call her right now, and hopefully she's going to respond as soon as possible. So she had asked us to call her in a few minutes. So we are trying to call Janet Tambula. She is in the Ministry of Information. So if you are hearing us, Janet, right now, please pick our call. So we are calling her right now, and hopefully she's going to respond. So in Malawi, we see that there are certain issues in that country. So now we've got Miss Janet Tambula. Janet Tambula, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gibbs.
Thank you so much. And let's stress that she is in the Ministry of Information in that country. So tell us a bit about what is going on in terms of the elections right now.
Right now, we are all anxiously waiting for the Electoral Commission to give us the official results, because we voted on the 23rd of this month. According to unofficial results, the Tons Alliance is the party which made it, because after the court ruling, when they found that there were some irregularities which happened in the 2019 elections, they asked the country to go again and vote. And then the court gave 150 days, that voting should be done within those 150 days, which the 150 days is supposed to end on 2nd of July. So Electoral Commission set a date, 23rd of June, to be the day for a polling day. So after voting, the Tons Alliance, which is comprises of about 10 parties which gang up and then made one party. But the two major parties was the UTM, United Transformation Movement, which was being led by the former Vice President of Malawi, Saulos Chilima, who is also he was the running mate this time to the Tons Alliance, and the Malawi Congress Party. And there's also the former President's Party, Dr. Joyce Banda. They are all in the Tons Alliance. They are the ones, at the moment, they have about, according to unofficial results, they have about 61.27% of the total votes, while the DPP UDF Alliance has about 38.1%. There were about 4,000 registered voters. In that of the 4,000 registered voters, Tons Alliance managed to come with about 2,440 votes, while UDF DPP Alliance managed to come with about 1,666 votes. At the moment, there is total excitement in the country. As you know, many people were oppressed. They were tired of the oppression that they've gone through, the tribalism. They complained of the tribalism. They also complained about the nepotism. And also the cost of living was just too much. And at the end of it all, like towards the last 2 months, the president became so arrogant that he started fighting some arms of government like the judiciary, the civil service. So people were not happy. So I think this time around, people have shown him through the ballot that they don't want his party in this country.
Yeah,
so
yes.
People are just anxiously waiting for the official results, which will be announced maybe tonight or tomorrow.
So how is the situation right now? Is it calm in terms of violence and other things?
Yes, at the moment there's calm. Shops are open. People are going out shopping. People are going in the restaurant eating. It's just normal life. People are going to work, and people are just excited. You go in the hospitals, everyone is happy. The civil service, everyone is happy. Almost in every sector, you go to the villages, you find that the farmers are also happy because the farm inputs were also very expensive on their side. And then you look at the change of, even the farmers are very happy because now the farm input, they've been subsidized. So the prices have gone down because the Tonse Alliance promised them that they are going to reduce the prices of the farm input subsidy, farm inputs in the country. And also there was also the quota system, the selection which was used for selection of students to the university, which people were not happy. So you go, you find that the youths are happy, the farmers in the village are happy, the people who are working in the civil service and all the sectors are happy, even the business people are happy. They are just anxiously waiting for the official results to come out, and then the swearing in should take place.
Thank you so much. Do you have a question for we are only remaining with 4 minutes.
Yes, maybe she can just tell us, the former president, is he expected to concede? What's the procedure there in Malawi? Or do you just announce who has won and then, the inauguration is done? What's the procedure?
When the winner is announced by the Electoral Commission, we have the swearing-in ceremony. After the swearing-in ceremony, that's it. We have the new president.
We are told that
after the swearing-in ceremony, we are going to have inauguration. I think on the 60th of July, because we also have our Independence Day that day. So I think it will just be the double celebration.
Yes, but we're told that the incumbent president may not accept the results. Is that true?
No, he has accepted. He has accepted. And he has, reports says that he has also moved out of the State House to his private house.
And also, maybe just to sum up, we see a lot of African countries are looking at Malawi as a beacon of hope. What's the news coming out of, outside of Malawi?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time that this has happened in Africa, and even I think the whole world. This is the first time this has happened. We had the Kenya situation, but it was different from the Malawi scenario. You see some countries are happy with whatever has happened in Malawi because we've shown to be a democratic country, and it looks like we are maturing now. We are now growing.
Thank you so much, Janet Tambula. She is in Lilongwe. We really thank you for having joined us tonight. We wish you the best of luck down there in Malawi. Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye, Gibbs.
Bye-bye. So that was Janet Tambula. She is in Malawi. She works for the Ministry of Information And I can see that we are already out of time. So normally there's no extra time. We would have given Reverend Hussein Sibanda and Dr. Simba Mavaza a bit of time to say their last word, but we don't have time at the moment. But I'll take this opportunity to thank the two for having joined us tonight on a very topical issue, the issue of corruption in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much, Reverend Hussein Sibanda of the Christian Alliance of Zimbabwe, and thanks so much to Dr. Simba Mavaza of ZANU-PF. Signing off is Gibbs Dube in Maryland, and Marvelous.
I'm Marvelous Mhlanga Nyahuye in Washington, D.C. I'm broadcasting from home. And a shout out to my brother there, Lennox Mhlanga, who actually said, that's my sister. Yes, brother. Hope you're, staying safe during COVID. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.